Welcome to Absolutely Marvel in DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and we've tortured ourselves. We decided to re-watch the original Suicide Squad movie to see, is it as bad as we remember? Initial impression, Sal, is it?
It's worse. Because I thought it was okay. Like, when I saw it for the first time, I'm in the theater, I'm watching it, movie's over, I'm like, all right. Like, I legitimately was like, okay. You know, like, I didn't hate it. I didn't viscerally have a hate for it. But having to watch it again, it's just tedious at this point. Like, the whole movie, I'm just like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, I'll agree with you when it comes to the original. Like, I remember getting out of that theater and I had the similar complaints that I had to Justice League, where I was like, look, it's okay. There's nothing spectacular about this, and we're going to forget about it within a couple of months, and it's just going to become a footnote in DC movies. Which it basically did, and I think that's why moving into this movie, I'm like, man, it wasn't that bad back in the day. Like, it was. I'd love to see a David Ayer cut, but I just remembered it being very hot topic commercially, and then everyone fighting, and I was like, okay.
I'm good. After having seen this, I actually don't even care about a David Ayer cut. Like, I'm out because
I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch any more of this than I had to.
Exactly, because the editing is the real problem, right? Everybody has an issue with the editing, and the fact that it was like one person's vision and then 20 people's vision, but using the template of one person's vision. And so if you strip away everything you think is cosmetically someone else's nonsense, you still have a movie that's ugly and makes choices that I wouldn't.
I mean, case in point, just to go with your ugly, Croc. I didn't remember him looking that bad. In comparison to King Shark, it's like, why didn't you just CG this thing?
It was 2016. The technology wasn't quite there, but at the same time, you can also tell that this was part of their big prelude to Justice League. Like, as far as the Suicide Squad are a footnote in the DC pantheon, in the comics. In the comic book DC universe, the Suicide Squad are in the background. They're background characters, they're side characters, they're forgotten, they're expendable.
Yeah.
They are not important. It's why a Suicide Squad movie should only cost like $60, $70 million. You cast a bunch of unknowns, you put them in fun, colorful costumes, and you kill them. That's what you do, you know, and maybe they fight like Brimstone or something kind of fun, but otherwise it's like, what are you doing with these characters? But you could tell that the powers at DC are like, this team, because they're cool and they're dark and will lead up to, and I'm like, you can't make a pillar of your cinematic universe the Expendables. Like,
well, I agree with you 100% because that's where the core of my issues with this movie were. So looking at the current Suicide Squad, the main character is Bloodsport. Right. It's Harley, Rick. Everyone is ancillary to him. Now, some of them got more development. Some of them became more primary, second characters. But throughout that entire movie, we followed Bloodsport. And we saw what he was doing and reacting to everyone. And other characters got developed as we're going, like Polka Dot Man's mom and King Shark wanting friends. But throughout all of that, Bloodsport's movie. And I feel like that, going through this movie, the first like 30 minutes, you don't know whose movie this is. Like, you know it's supposed to be Will Smith because he's Will Smith. Right. It's supposed to be. But everyone got their own introduction with their own style, be it humor, off the wall, crazy, whatever. They all got their own theme songs, and they all got to introduce their superheroes. Be it Batman jumping in with Deadshot or jumping in on the Joker, Flash running in with Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a footnote. It wasn't like Captain Boomerang being like, oh yeah, the Flash caught me. We get a fun little 2-second. Like they fleshed out everybody's little thing.
Yeah. They spent entirely too much time developing any of these characters. Ironically, because none of them really have any significant development.
Exactly, because it was all flashy, just in your face.
Exactly.
Harley Quinn's was, she's Harley, and she was with the Joker. Batman. Captain Boomerang's was, he used to go robbing, and look, the Flash made a funny. You know what I mean? Like, it was like in Deadshot. They're like, it's Deadshot. Oh, he's got a daughter, and he cares about that daughter. And Batman.
Batman being in it at all, I actually like that because it was part of, it makes it feel like it's part of this new cinematic universe that they were developing. So I really have no complaints about the Batman being in it, but or Flash for that matter. It was kind of like I remember that moment in the theater being like, "Whoa, Flash! Like I can't believe they did that."
Right, and it was cool for cool factor, but the way they delivered it is where my problem is, because the movie shifted. The movie totally moved. The movie totally changed over to be a Flash moment. It totally changed over to be like, we got Ben Affleck in the suit.
The other thing that's weird is that, like, not to divert, but like getting back to your protagonist, like who is the main character thing, like you could tell, like Deadshot's the main character, and then we have like a little Harley Quinn movie, and then for no reason they're like, also Enchantress is a major character, like a really important character, and then Diablo is a main character.
They kept shifting who was the focus.
Yeah, and I think that's like a thing. Like I think that Ayer was trying something where he's like, no, all these characters are distinct and interesting. Let's see like what happens when each of them like takes over the movie. But when you have like 60 editors, it becomes a mess.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a lot of credit here because at the same time, I don't care about Diablo. I don't care about Harley at this point.
I don't care about Enchantress.
Enchantress, pass. The only thing that's great about Enchantress, and I said it in the beginning, like from the trailer to now, the best thing about Enchantress was the transformation sequence.
Yeah.
In the boardroom.
And then, I mean, we have to bring it up. The inclusion of the Joker is where my point of Flash and Batman and all the superheroes showing up and altering things. Why was the Joker put in? Because like Batman got a footnote, Flash got a footnote. We got to see them all doing things. Batman got used more than it needed to be used. Yep. But Joker. It's one thing to be like, it's Joker and Harley, and we'll have Joker in another movie, but to have him show up to save her, to have him be like an actual part of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted Joker in this movie. Like they had plans for Joker.
Yeah.
And that's a real shame because Jared Leto is insufferable.
His portrayal aside, whatever.
Okay. All right, let's put that aside.
I think we've in everything you and I have done have just tore that portrayal apart in general. Neither of us like it. No. It's more how jarring it is for him to arrive and be a part of this movie. The scenes to him shift focus again. The tone changes again. He shows up out of nowhere for no reason. Oh, I'm here to save Harley.
When he shows up to save Harley, I didn't like it, but I got it, where I'm like, yeah, I guess Joker might go get Harley, you know? Because Harley needs to learn a lesson about Joker because Harley is a superhero now, so we got to divorce them. And I'm kind of like, I liked that. Not that I liked that moment because I thought it was kind of hacky, but like I appreciated that anything could happen in this movie. Like if you're making a movie about the Joker's girlfriend and she's still dedicated to the Joker, it'd be kind of cool if Joker showed up. It'd be kind of cool if Joker showed up to try and get her. And that happens. We get a whole action sequence. The thing that doesn't make any sense is that Deadshot doesn't shoot her in the face because he absolutely would have. And the only reason he doesn't is because she's pretty. Like, and I hate to say that because Harley is an interesting character, or at least she has become one in the years, but like, there is no reason for Deadshot to like her in this movie. There's no reason for any of the squad to like or defend her. Now, there's
no reason for anyone in the squad to like or defend anyone else in the squad.
Oh, no.
They all hate each other from the get-go.
Yeah, and
which is also a jarring thing compared to the Suicide Squad. They banded together because of the bombs, and they're going to work together. This Suicide Squad, like, they don't care. They just want to murder each other.
You know what's funny? It's one of those things where it's like, the conceit is it's a bunch of villains. They're all bad guys. They wouldn't care about each other. But when you pick these bad guys, or you make a movie that is already so dark and make it star villains, the only way you could go is for them to just be miserable and hate each other and not want to work together. Yeah. They think that one bar scene that is not especially well written is enough to build camaraderie for these people. Deadshot, I noticed this moment where Deadshot says, he identifies who they are 3 times. He's like, we're the fall guys, we're the patsies, we're the bad guy. And I'm like, we get it, man. And it's like, it's not enough. He says they're the Suicide Squad at the beginning of the movie, and then he says it again when they're in the bar scene, and I'm like, yeah, you're expendable. That's why you're here. You know you were all in prison. You have bombs in your necks, man. Like,
right.
This is not a reveal.
Well, that's something that this movie did terrible, is to let you know. us as comic book fans know who the Suicide Squad is.
Sure.
And they normally kill somebody off in the beginning, and the movie tried to take that approach. We kill one person, Slipknot, he's done, he's out.
Who cares?
Right.
Uh-huh.
And that's that. No one else is a problem. But like when you look at the Suicide Squad, he built an entire second team to murder.
Yes.
Right out of the get-go, you're like, oh, they're the guys that are going to die. And then we go to Bloodsport, and it's like, oh, I don't know who any of them are either.
Right. Bloodsport could die. Because, like, if you are if you are a comic book fan, that's why he kills, that's why he does a few deaths in the Suicide Squad, if you haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil that. But there are a few deaths in there that he does specifically to show you that, like, even Bloodsport could die. Like, we could kill anyone in this movie. Yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of awesome. Like, that's a really, that's a good device to telegraph what the stakes are in this movie. With Suicide Squad, it's just, I don't know. The tone doesn't work for me. The style especially doesn't work for me. I just don't care about whatever this universe is or what they're doing. From the aesthetic of Joker and the crime that is actually done in this movie, like Deadshot talking to Angelo about like the assassination, which should be a fun scene. I would argue that actually I still like the Deadshot showing that he could shoot things scene. I just think it's a fun scene. It's one of the few songs that I actually like that aren't like, oh, this is a song that says the thing.
Right.
They're doing. I kind of like that scene, but like the scene where Deadshot shows his trick shots, Angelo is terrible. The guy on the phone is just, the dialogue is so simple and so obvious. He gets $1 million and it's like 1 mil. It's so childishly simplistic, and it just feels really try hard. And I'm just kind of like, ugh. Also, you know, the Deadshot suit looks kind of cool. I appreciate the try to use the mask, but like it doesn't look good, and they never use it anyway. So, you know.
Yeah. The other big thing that I noticed is compared to the Suicide Squad and more recent entries into the DCEU, from Shazam to even Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
The Snyder tone.
Right.
Like, the Suicide Squad is dark. It's gritty. The fight sequences, you cannot see what is happening in them.
No.
The Suicide Squad, it's all in the daytime. The camera angles all show us the fighting. Like, it doesn't do jump cuts. It's not shaky cam for a good chunk of it. The difference between those two, you can definitely tell what they were going for at this time period in the DCEU versus what is going on now.
Totally. The disposable villains. Now, I've heard in recent times that those like putties that they kill are more or less CG substitutions for actual threats that were supposed to be linked with Justice League. But what we got is that movie that we had to watch. And in this movie, we have a bunch of mud monsters that all are indistinguishable. I don't know what their power set is. I don't know what their stakes are. I have no idea like how effective they can be or why I should be afraid for the Suicide Squad about like from them and from their perspective. Like none of it really works for me. The fact that like the Enchantress gets away like immediately, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I thought you had contingencies. Like, it just makes the whole movie
the fight sequences in general are hard to follow.
They are hard to follow.
Which is another biggest problem I have with that. Like, fine, we could use stand-in monsters and whatever, which I agree, dumb as hell. Why would we even have those? That doesn't make any sense. You could do a dozen other things. But it's just, they're always trying, especially the Enchantress final fight, where there was the rain and you had like all the smokiness.
I can't see shit in that scene.
It's like, what is happening?
No, it's just, it's too damn dark. I just can't see a thing. And what's funny is I get it. You know, like the movie's dark. The tone is dark. These characters are dark.
And the Snyderverse at the time was very dark. Everything was in a darker tone.
It fits. The problem with this with Suicide Squad is that it fits in this universe pretty well. Unfortunately for me anyway, the universe building they're doing, it's not engaging. Like I don't I buy that Gigolo Joker and I'm like, I don't really want it. Like, I don't want this. Like,
Gigolo Joker would work in that universe that they were setting up there.
Totally.
It's just, I don't know. The original movie, you could tell, had so many problems, so many editors, so much that someone in WB was like, just get it out.
Yeah.
We have a Guardians team. Just do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think that they came to it where they're like, we've got Guardians, but they're freaking dark.
Yeah.
Bleep. You know, like I could see them getting really into this, and then they see it and they're like, I may have gone too far in a few places. Let's. Because you can watch the evolution. Like, I also watch the trailers for this movie as it goes, and it's like, it just gets more and more like, and it's like, you can't change it. Like, every scene where human beings are walking and talking, I get the tone, I get what this movie is, and I get what the universe is that they live in, and I'm just not interested. I love them talking about, what if Superman were to go into the White House? I'm like, he's dead, man.
Yeah.
Now what? The most powerful person in the universe, the reason you created the Suicide Squad, is dead. What are you worried about?
My biggest concern, my biggest takeaway from this whole thing was that I felt like it was as if the seat. So recently, Dylan and I have been doing a lot of Flash discussions and a lot of and the biggest complaint we've had with these episodes have been that the cast is just way too big and they try to focus on way too many of them instead of just having the Flash be the focal point.
Right, he should be.
And they have that problem with a lot of the CW shows, and that's what this movie felt like to me. Like somebody said, okay, CW's making shows, just get them to do it. Like, and the CW is like, okay, cool. So we got 10 people, so we got to do 10 movies in one.
It could be the studio trying to approximate what they're doing. Like, why are the shows so beloved, but our movies are kind of split critically? Let's just do what they're doing over there. There could be some kind of motivation where, like, you know, the DCEU people are trying to make a WB show, but with their style, and it's like, that doesn't work. There are too many characters, and there's no real focus. I mean, ultimately, I think Deadshot manages to be the protagonist of this movie the whole time. It's just...
That's the problem. He's supposed to be. You can tell that is what they were trying for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they were trying to make it Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and Captain Boomerang. You get that vibe that was the intention.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just didn't come across that way.
No. I will say a couple of positives that I will throw at this movie. Like I said, I think that underneath all of the garbage they put on top of it, there is a clear vision. There is a clear universe. Things fit. There are some things that I think don't really fit, but the uniforms all pretty much fit. Like, I don't like the look of Killer Croc, but he fits in this universe, so I get it. I don't like it, but I think it works in this universe.
I don't think it works.
Movie. I think it's terrible.
They just needed if they just wanted to go with the makeup, like the creature feature kind of style, get a guy that fills that. Like, the actor they got isn't even acting. There's no crocisms going on here.
Well,
you could easily
don't you like
get
that
a
moment where he kind of goes into the water? Like, it's so stupid.
Imagine the dude from Free Guy being dressed up like the.
Oh my God! Yeah,
that would at least fit. Like,
yeah, I know, I hear you. But Katana, comic book accurate for no good reason whatsoever.
She also shouldn't have been there.
No.
She was probably my favorite part of that movie and should not have been in that movie.
Doesn't fit, but she does have his back. And I would advise not being killed by her because she cuts you in half like she's mowing the lawn.
I also love the fact that following this movie, for some weird reason, Katana was on the Suicide Squad for like 2 years in the comics.
Yeah.
Like, she kept getting put in until they finally moved her to a Batman team. It was like,
right, like, all right, put her on the Outsiders.
But the best part about that was it was just like in the movie where it's like, she's on the squad.
Right.
But she doesn't have a bomb because she's a good guy. Like,
okay. Yeah, but it's weird that she looks so great, and it's a real shame. You know, you could have made a Katana spin-off movie for like less than half of the budget for this.
I wonder if Shang-Chi does well, if we'll get that finally.
I feel like it's a little late.
I do too, but DC doesn't seem to think so either.
That's true. That's true. I mean, listen, like,
look at what they've been making.
They made another Suicide Squad movie. I would watch a Katana movie. You kidding me? That'd be freaking dope. Hell, I'll take. You know what I really want though? You know, because they're talking about Suicide Squad and sequels and stuff like that. Even though the Suicide Squad supposedly didn't do very well.
It didn't? I thought it did.
Apparently it did not. Apparently it didn't perform at expectations because the expectations are cemented in the past. You know, like the movie industry was like, it's time to make billions, and it's like, yo, dude, those days are over. So change your expectations. But
well, yeah, I think the industry in general needs to be like, you realize COVID changed a lot.
Yeah,
and not just moving people to streaming platforms. I don't know about you, Sal, but now I'm really picking and choosing what I go to the theater for.
Shang-Chi is one of those things where I'm like, am I going?
Yeah, I didn't go for Black Widow. I
No.
did go for Free Guy, and it's not because I really wanted to see Free Guy. It's because I was out with a couple buddies, and it was just us sitting around, and I'm like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I mean, the theater's right there.
Yeah.
Like, we could just go. It's matinee
Yeah.
prices at $7.
That's the thing. If I do see Chi or Guy, I'm seeing them with as few human beings in the building as possible. Like, I'm going to catch it at 10 in the
What
morning.
I did, because I got it at $7, I bought the 2 seats on both sides of my group so that there was nobody near us. Because you get them at a matinee price at $7, it was $14. That's a normal evening price.
That's a normal price.
Yeah. So I just bought the 2 seats on both sides of my group, and because they're not spacing them out. At least
No.
not near me. And
What
that
a
was the first.
shock.
Oh, you guys space out seats? No. If you feel uncomfortable, wear a mask, or I'll just buy the one next to me. It's
Right.
$7 more. That's
Yeah.
fine.
The other thing is, my only issue is, like, you're still in a room. You're still in this room, like, breathing on everybody.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. But yeah, I feel like if they're gonna make a sequel or if they're gonna do anything, I got a good surprise for you guys. You know what? You want to save some money, but also still make a sequel to Suicide Squad? Don't make a sequel to Suicide Squad. Make that Secret Six movie. You can get Bane in there. You can get Catman. You can do a couple other fun characters and change the premise, but still capitalize on that whole, like, bad guy thing.
Yeah.
Secret Six. Just telling you, it's right there, sitting there, waiting for you.
I don't think we're getting either. I just looked up the numbers to see how bad it did.
Real bad.
26 million as an opening weekend.
Which shouldn't be
that-
bad. That's a pretty good opening
Black Widow
weekend.
opened with like 90 million.
Yes.
And you're 100% right. If this was anything but the Suicide Squad and a superhero tentpole movie, everyone, oh my God, we're getting a sequel. Because if I looked in here correctly, it says that it made total international is 44, worldwide it's at 80 million at this point. Which anything
bad.
that's bad in terms of a superhero movie when they still want that big sweet $1 billion box office,
yeah,
like Guardians of the Galaxy money.
Yeah, well, and probably the budget. My guess is the Suicide Squad cost, what, $200 million?
Yeah, it probably wasn't cheap. You had a lot of big names in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, here it
take
is.
a
What
look.
was the budget for it?
$185 million. So they only need $100 million, except that you got to double that because that's what the real budget of a movie is. So no, it will not. You will not be seeing any more, but you will see Peacemaker at least.
I don't know. Maybe it'll get picked up because a lot of movies hit that cult classic status and do well post release. But we'll see.
I hope so.
But anyway, back to Suicide Squad 1.
Yes, yes.
For the record, I think that's part of the reason this didn't do well.
Yeah.
Cemented in everyone's head is that movie was terrible.
Right.
And I get it. I get when you're like, oh, James Gunn did it. He's the guy that did Guardians. Your casual moviegoer doesn't care or get that.
No.
So, Suicide Squad 2, why would they make a sequel? The first one was terrible.
Right. Yeah. No, people still kind of remember it as a meme.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a bunch of jokes. So, I don't know. It's a shame because this Suicide Squad 2016, not great. The Suicide Squad, night and day. Different movie. It sells the premise. I don't know. Yeah, but I see what Ayer was going for, and it was I'm sure there's a real movie in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like I still wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, I don't think I would have liked it either. I think we're just at a point now. Well, let me end this discussion with this.
Yeah.
Do you think that you will willingly watch the original ever again?
No, I'm good. No, I'm out. Completely.
Do you want to see a return to the Enchantress?
Not really. Yeah, no, I complimented the transformation sequence and the design, I guess, but like, first of all, when she's CG, it looks awful. Secondly, I don't care about her, and I don't find her interesting. The only thing that was really cool was when Waller just unabashed, just starts stabbing the heart. She doesn't stab it like once. Like I could imagine them being this slow, like, is she gonna do it? And then like, oh, she's really stabbing it. No, six stabs in less than a second. Just whoa, 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 whoa. It's like a real knife attack.
I can't even do that. I can't do that quick.
I know. It's scary.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
All right. Well, there you have it. Our opinions on going back to the original Suicide Squad, and I have a feeling we will not be seeing a 3 based on how bad that one did and the sequel. So, plus, I mean, James Gunn's back on that Disney train now, so whatever. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Benny. That is Sal. And we'll see you in the next video right here at Absolutely Marvel and DC.